Video opens with a rapid, scratchy animation. A human silhouette sits in a dark room, illuminated only by a phone screen. Jagged lines of code and fragmented news headlines flash across the screen, physically piercing the silhouette's skin like needles. The colors are muted gray and black, with the phone's glow a sickly, digital blue. The sound is a low, anxious hum mixed with distorted news clips. Phase 1. The hook. There's a feeling. A low hum beneath the floorboards of your life. It's not sadness. It's not anger. It's the constant, quiet certainty that the other shoe is about to drop. You did the work. You paid the rent. You called your mother. And yet, you lie in bed at night with a knot in your stomach, waiting for an impact that hasn't happened yet. A catastrophe you can't name, a threat you can't see. This isn't just anxiety. That word is too clean, too clinical. It's a modern disease of the soul, a psychological parasite we've all been infected with. Let's give it the name it deserves. Let's call it the gun devil psychology. It's the belief that a faceless, random, and overwhelming violence is not just possible, but inevitable. And the most twisted part? You helped build the monster that's hunting you. Stay with me. Because by the end of this broadcast, you will understand the architecture of your own fear. And I will hand you the blueprint to tear it all down. Phase 2. The problem. You feel it, don't you? You're scrolling through your phone, a ritual you perform not for pleasure, but for information. A digital self-flagellation. Here's a war. Here's a plague. Here's an economic collapse. Here's a study that says the thing you enjoy is killing you. Here's a celebrity's perfect life to remind you of your own decay. Each headline is a tiny micro-trauma, a paper cut on your psyche. None of them are fatal on their own, but you're bleeding out from 1,000 tiny wounds. You close the app, but the feeling lingers. It's a ghost in your machine. You're at the grocery store, standing in the cereal aisle, and suddenly you're thinking about supply chain collapse. You're talking to a friend, laughing, and a voice in the back of your head whispers, "This won't last." It's a poison that metabolizes joy into dread. Let's make it real. Picture this. You get a notification. A good one. A project you worked on is a success. You got the promotion. Someone you like just texted you back. For a split second, there's a spark. But then, the gun devil psychology kicks in. It's a reflex. The first thought isn't, "This is great." It's, "Okay, what's going to go wrong to balance this out?" You've been conditioned to see good news not as a victory, but as the wind-up for the punch. You are a detective searching for the disaster you know is hiding in the details of your own life. And here is the hidden cost, the real consequence they don't print in the pamphlets. This constant state of alert, this defensive crouch, it doesn't actually protect you. It paralyzes you. It turns your life from a story you write into a broadcast you passively consume, waiting for the inevitable breaking news bulletin that announces your own demise. You become a professional victim in waiting. You stop taking risks. You stop chasing ambitions. You stop connecting with people. Why build anything, when the wrecking ball is already on its way? The gun devil psychology doesn't just make you afraid. It makes you small. It convinces you the only sane choice is to dig a hole, climb inside, and wait for the sky to fall. And for that, we turn to the blood-soaked, gasoline-scented gospel of Chainsaw Man. In this universe, devils are real. They are monstrous manifestations of humanity's collective fears. The more something is feared, the more powerful its corresponding devil becomes. There's a tomato devil, which is a joke. There's a darkness devil, which is a primal terror. And then, there is the gun devil. The gun devil is the single most feared entity on the planet. Its appearance was a global act of terror that killed over 1 million people in a matter of minutes. It is fast, it is faceless, and its violence is completely, terrifyingly random. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't even know you exist. You are just a statistic in its rampage. This isn't just a monster. This is a perfect, grotesque hyperbole of our modern anxiety. The gun devil is the engine of the psychology that plagues you, and it operates on 3 core principles. Principle number 1. The principle of amplification. Your fear is no longer a private affair. Once, if you were afraid of, say, spiders, that was your problem. You and the spider in your bathtub. Now, your phone is a direct neural link to the fears of 8 billion other people. A single act of violence happens on the other side of the planet. Before your grandfather would have even read about it in a newspaper 2 days later, you've seen the video from 10 different angles. You've read 1,000 panicked comments. You've seen the algorithmically curated outrage. You are not just learning about the event, you're participating in the fear. Social media and the 24-hour news cycle are not reporters of fear. They are fear amplifiers. They are a global network designed to find a spark of anxiety and pour gasoline on it, because fear generates clicks, and clicks generate revenue. We have built a machine that manufactures devils. The gun devil isn't born from a single person's fear of guns. It's born from the amplified, networked, and monetized fear of millions. It's a psychic pandemic, and your attention is the vector of transmission. Principle number 2. The principle of anonymity. Who do you fight? Who do you blame? The gun devil doesn't have a motive you can understand. It is a system of violence. An algorithm of death. This mirrors the nature of our biggest anxieties. You're not afraid of your neighbor, Dave. You're afraid of systemic economic collapse. You're not afraid of a single hot day. You're afraid of irreversible climate change. You're not afraid of one person's opinion. You're afraid of the faceless, ever-shifting mob of online consensus. The enemy is huge, abstract, and impersonal. It has no face you can punch. It has no leader you can negotiate with. This anonymity is what creates the feeling of powerlessness. You are a single human standing on a beach, trying to fight a hurricane by screaming at it. The sheer scale of the threat makes any personal action feel absurd, pathetic, and pointless. And so you do nothing. Principle number 3. The principle of inevitability. In the world of Chainsaw Man, the gun devil's arrival wasn't a surprise. It was a known event. The world knew it was coming. They just didn't know when. This created a global culture of dread, of just waiting. Waiting for the massacre. Sound familiar? This is the core loop of doomscrolling. You know that consuming this content is bad for you. You know it's filling you with dread and despair. But you keep scrolling. Why? Because you feel like you have to. You're scanning the horizon for the enemy. You're trying to prepare yourself for the impact, as if knowing the exact shape and velocity of the bullet will somehow make it hurt less when it hits you. This sense of inevitability turns you into a passive observer. It frames the future not as a landscape of possibilities, but as a fixed point of disaster that you are simply rocketing towards. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. By being so certain of becoming catastrophe, you cease all the actions that might have prevented it. So what is the gun devil? It's a plague of the mind. Imagine your personal anxiety as a single, dormant virus particle. Alone, it's nothing. But when you plug your mind into a global network that collects billions of these particles, replicates them, and beams them back into everyone's skulls at the speed of light, you create a monster. You create an epidemic of dread so powerful it feels like a physical force, a malevolent intelligence hell-bent on your destruction. That is the gun devil. ## Phase 4. The application. So. The bad news is, you helped build this prison. The good news is, you hold the key. You cannot fight the gun devil with a bigger gun. You can't out-anxiety your anxiety. Fighting it on its own terms, global scale, abstract threats, is a losing game. It is designed to make you feel powerless. So you have to refuse to play. You don't kill a devil made of fear. You starve it. You cut off its food supply. This is your manual for psychological warfare. This is how you begin. Step 1. Curate your consumption. Build your bunker. Your attention is the most valuable resource you have. Right now, you are giving it away for free to a system that converts it into fear and sells it back to you. You must stop. This is not about becoming an ignorant hermit. It's about strategic disengagement. It is an act of defiance. Tonight, I want you to perform a digital exorcism. Go through your phone. Unfollow every single account that makes its money from outrage and fear. News aggregators, political rage merchants, drama channels. Unfollow them. Mute keywords on your social media that trigger your specific anxieties. If you're terrified of economic collapse, mute the words recession, inflation, market crash. You are not burying your head in the sand. You are refusing to let the enemy choose the battlefield. Then, set hard timers on your apps. 15 minutes for Instagram. 20 for the news. When the timer goes off, the app closes. Starve the devil. Step 2. Name the nameless dread. Isolate the devil's heart. The gun devil's power comes from its vagueness. The world is falling apart is not a fear. It's a fog. It's an unfightable, amorphous cloud of dread. You have to give your fear a name and a face before you can fight it. Get a piece of paper. Not your phone, not your laptop. A physical piece of paper and a pen. At the top, write this question. What, specifically, is the catastrophe I am waiting for? Don't allow yourself to write bullshit like societal collapse. Be brutally specific. Drill down. Is it, I am afraid I will lose my job and be evicted? Is it, I am afraid that a specific person in my life will leave me? Is it, I am afraid I will get sick and be buried in medical debt? The gun devil is a 50-story monster made of guns. But when you force yourself to be specific, you realize you're not fighting the whole monster. You're fighting one single, rusty pistol. And a pistol is a problem. It's a serious problem, but it's a problem you can start to solve. You can update your resume. You can have an honest conversation with that person. You can get a health checkup. You shrink the devil from an existential threat into a series of logistical challenges. Name your demon. It hates that. Step 3. Practice local agency. Shrink the battlefield. You feel powerless because you're trying to fix the world. You can't. Stop it. The feeling of agency, of control, is a muscle. Yours has atrophied because you haven't been using it on things you can actually lift. Your task is to shrink the battlefield to the size of the room you are in. Look around you right now. What, in your immediate physical vicinity, is within your power to control or improve? Can you do the dishes that have been sitting in the sink? Can you finally reply to that email you've been avoiding? Can you go for a 10-minute walk? Can you stretch your aching back? These actions sound trivial. They sound stupidly, insultingly simple compared to the scale of your anxiety. That is precisely why they work. Every small, deliberate action you take is a declaration of war against the paralysis of the gun devil. I am an agent. I can affect my environment. I am still here. These small acts of order are the sandbags you use to build a dam against the flood of chaos. Step 4. Schedule your worry. Quarantine the fear. Your anxiety is not you. It is a faulty program running in the background of your operating system, eating up all your processing power. You can't delete the program, but you can put it in a sandbox. Schedule a 15-minute appointment with your fear every day. Put it in your calendar. 5 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. Catastrophize. During that 15-minute window, you have my full permission to go insane. Let the gun devil run wild. Write down every worst-case scenario. Wallow in the dread. Let it all out. But when that timer goes off, you are done. You stand up, you take a deep breath, and you say, meeting adjourned. If a worry pops into your head at any other time of day, you don't fight it. You acknowledge it, write it down on your list, and tell it, I will give you my full attention at 5 p.m. What you are doing is refusing to let the fear be the background noise to your entire existence. You are treating it like the toxic, radioactive contaminant that it is. You are giving it a containment cell. You are telling it that it does not own you, it does not run your schedule. It gets 15 minutes. The other 23 hours and 45 minutes belong to you. Visual. The silhouette is now standing. It grabs the gun barrel sticking out of its chest. Or is this just another set of feel-good platitudes to whisper in the dark? Let's look at the source code. In Chainsaw Man, how is the gun devil, this avatar of overwhelming fear, finally neutralized? It's not with a bigger bomb. It's not with a United Nations resolution. It is through the relentless, idiotic, and deeply personal motivations of the protagonist, Denji. Denji is not fighting for humanity. He doesn't care about geopolitics. He's fighting for a hot meal. He's fighting to touch a girl's chest. He's fighting for the dream of a life so painfully, beautifully normal it seems like a fantasy. While the entire world is paralyzed by the gun devil, Denji shrinks the battlefield to the size of his own selfish, simple desires. His goals are so small, so immediate, so human, that the grand, abstract terror of the gun devil can't get a purchase on his mind. He starves it by refusing to care about it on its own terms. He defeats a global-sized fear by focusing on a human-sized life. The story proves the principle: grandiose problems require microscopic focus. This isn't just comic book philosophy. This is the bedrock of real-world psychological resilience. Look at Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the literal hell of Auschwitz. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he observed that the prisoners who had the best chance of survival were not always the physically strongest. They were the ones who found a private, personal meaning to cling to. Why? Their battlefield wasn't surviving the Holocaust. That's an impossible, soul-crushing task. Their battlefield was surviving this day. Their why was the thought of seeing a wife again, or a piece of work they needed to finish. They found meaning not in the grand, horrific narrative they were trapped in, but in the smallest pockets of their own internal world. Frankl's entire school of psychotherapy, logotherapy, is built on this insight. In the face of absurd, overwhelming suffering, the only sane response is to find and cultivate your own personal meaning. The logic is a steel trap. The gun devil psychology is a disease of scale. It feasts on your sense of powerlessness in the face of massive, abstract threats. Therefore, the only antidote is to radically and ruthlessly focus your energy on the small, the tangible, the personal, and the immediate. You perform a kind of psychological jujitsu. The devil wants you staring at the apocalyptic horizon, frozen in terror. You defy it by looking down at the patch of dirt beneath your own 2 feet, and taking one, single, deliberate step. Phase 6. The call to action. We've dissected the demon. We've written the manual for its starvation. Now, it's your turn. The first step in any exorcism is to speak the demon's name aloud. So, let's do it. In the comments below, I want you to answer the question from step 2. Name your nameless dread. Drag it out into the light for everyone to see. What is the one, specific catastrophe you have been waiting for? No vague pronouncements. Be specific. Let's see what this devil is really made of when it can no longer hide in the fog. If you're done being a passive consumer of your own fear, if you're ready to trade the cold comfort of victimhood for the hard work of living, then subscribe to the Normal Life Manifesto. We don't peddle hope here. We forge weapons. And finally, you've learned how to starve the devil of fear. But that will leave a void. A vacuum. Powerlessness is a habit, and you need to replace it with something else. You need to learn how to fill that space with action. Click on this video right here. The Courage of the Fool. Why Denji's stupidity is his greatest strength. It's the next part of your training. Time to get to work.